जम्मू आ गए, दिल्ली आ गए, अलग अलग जगह पे आ गए, और अभी सरकार उनको कह रही है फिर से हम
मेरी बात समझ गए क्या सबके साथ मर्डर हो जाता है? क्या सारी बहुएं जला के मार दी जाती?
Hello student, today I am discussing with the topic that is judicial overreach. We talk about judicial activism, judicial overreach, but what is the meaning of this judicial overreach? Reason being, nowadays we are discussing this particular term a lot. Everybody is just talking about that the role of judiciary has diverted from its role, and the concern is related to the recent judgment of state of Tamil Nadu versus governor of Tamil Nadu, wherein Supreme Court has issued a verdict and ensured that the President of India and the governor should complete the reservation of the bill within the duration of 3 months is to decide the matter. It means lot of time should not be taken to give the opinion over any bills. Now when the statement came to the balls of the executive, it was criticized by saying that the task of judiciary is to make interpretation of law. The judiciary is not having the role to make directions to the President of India or any of the person who is holding the constitutional post. So now I am discussing with this topic from the backgrounds of judicial system in our country. When we talk about the roles of judiciary in India, it is based on doctrine of separation of power. We have 3 organs: executive, judiciary, as well as the legislative body. Every domain is to work according to its domain. So one organ is to limit itself not to do the task assigned to the other organ. But as we know that in India, doctrine of separation is not strictly followed. We have some kind of flexible concept. There is, under Article 13 of the Constitution of India, the judiciary is empowered, especially the constitutional courts are empowered to make interpretation of the law, including all kinds of rule, regulations, customs, usage and bylaws. Because we need to protect Article 13 in that case, because Article 13 having the purpose to protect the fundamental right of citizens. So the judges are to ensure that all the laws which is in force in India or which is to be made for the country is to be made as per the norms to protect the fundamental rights of Indian citizens. Now, Article 142 of the Constitution of India, which is discussed nowadays a lot, which talks about for the end of justice, the judiciary, especially the Supreme Court of India, is empowered to make mandates, to issue directions or issue guidelines for the end of justice. In the same parlance, if the judiciary has issued certain kinds of guidelines which is in nature of mandates imposing to the constitutional post person, is it overreach or it is simply the task of judiciary? So if we need to take categorization of this term, judicial activism and judicial overreach, once it is clearly set up that the purpose of the judiciary is to protect and preserve the concept, the constitutional concept provided under the Constitution, it is not an overreach. But once the directions goes toward the domain of executive or the legislative body, it becomes the hitting point for the overreaching concept. So we need to make a balance between these two terms, that judiciary is whether tasking from its domain, within its domain, or outreaching from its domain and including the domain of executive or the legislative. So we have plethora of judgments of Supreme Court when time to time Supreme Court denied and refused to make any kind of mandates, saying that policy making or any kind of certain act is coming within the ambit of legislative body or coming within the ambit of executive body. Judiciary is not going to overreach its domain. So there are many judgments where Supreme Court has confined itself from doing such kind of thing. Now if I would scrutinize this particular case of state of Tamil Nadu versus governor of Tamil Nadu, we can say that this is not going to overreach the concept of judiciary. Reason being, it is the act of the judiciary to ensure that all the laws, all the fundamental forms of the organs of the government are working according to the domain which are provided under the constitution. So this was the point, that overreaching of judiciary is something which is to be seen if the judiciary is not having any powers conferred by the constitution. Still it is doing something, that it will come to the overreach concept. But if certain things have been done by the judiciary which is already conferred by the constitutional powers, it is not coming within the ambit of judicial overreach. It is simply a judicial activism, and the purpose is to ensure the justice for the people of this country. This all today. Thanks for watching.
Subscribe for more content.